Well, hello everybody. Boyd here with you, and welcome to episode 53 of our live broadcast here in the model shop in San Antonio. Looks like we got a good crowd here tonight. Glad to see you guys. I've got some cool stuff to show you guys tonight. We're going to start off tonight with taking a look at the 1/16 scale Shelby Cobra 427 kit that I just finished. Put out a little YouTube video on that a couple days ago, but some of you guys might not have seen that. We did a kit review on that one here a couple of weeks back and wanted to show you guys how that one turned out. We've also got a little bit of work we're going to be doing on our 350 scale Enterprise that we showed you last week, doing the decals on. I'm finishing up the model tonight. I've got to wire up the display base. We've got the switches. I was waiting for a couple of parts to come in. I've got a power supply and a jack that I need to install so we can power the model up. And we'll show you that whole process of getting that wired up. And then I've got some work that I'm going to be doing on something a little different tonight. Going back and a lot of times we build, brand new model kits right out of the box, but sometimes we like to go back and restore some of our old kits that we worked on years and years ago. So I've got a really cool kit that I dug out of the mothballs here that I'll show you guys. I built that model over 25 years ago, if you can believe that. And it's actually the very first model that I ever put any lighting in. And I'm going to be doing a little bit of work kind of getting it back in shape. It's been in storage for a long time, so it kind of fell apart here and there, and it needs a little bit of work, and we're going to do a little bit of tinkering around with that one tonight. I've got some, we're going to be showing you some, talking about the beginning of the work I'm doing on the 1/1400 scale badass models Battlestar Galactica. I'm going to break that kit out again and show that to you and talk about what our plan is. I'm going to start putting out videos this week on the TrekWorks channel on that build series. As I mentioned, we're going to be building two of those. One sort of battle damaged, and the other one kind of fleet ready, like it just left the fleet or just left the assembly line and it's brand new. And that's going to be an exciting build series with a lot of interesting details about painting and wiring and lighting and all that kind of stuff. I want to mention real quick that we've got a brand new slideshow tonight too. A bunch of you guys sent in some great pictures of your models, and we've got that all put together and ready to show you guys tonight. And I'm also announcing that we're going to be doing a Halloween group build for the Model Shop Guys show. I want to encourage you guys to join in. I'll post something on there on our Google Plus page at the end of the show tonight. As you guys may or may not know, Halloween falls on a Saturday this year, so we're going to be doing a show that night. I'm going to be showing up in costume. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, but I'll be in costume that night, and we're going to do a hangout afterwards, right after the show's over. So hopefully you guys will show up for the hangout in costume. Don't be chicken, guys. Put your costumes on. Show up for the show, have some fun. We'll talk about models, and we'll just kind of kick it around and maybe talk about horror movies and stuff. Halloween's my absolutely favorite holiday of the year. I love it more than any other holiday. I've always been that way since I was a kid, so I really look forward to it. I always like to watch a bunch of creepy movies and have a good time, so hope you'll join us for that. Like I said, I'll put up some details about the build group build here. We've got what we'd like to do is have everybody build their models. Just pick out a simple, easy kit to build, something Halloween related, something kind of spooky, and we'd like to have everybody get those finished if possible the week before Halloween, so that you could send in your pictures and we can do a slideshow feature of everybody that built their models that night for that show that we broadcast on Halloween night. It'll be really spooky and scary, kids. It'll be a lot of fun. Okay, guys, I'll be right back. We're going to have a quick look at our sponsors, and then we're going to have a look at the completed 427 Cobra and then go on from there. Be right back, everybody. Okay, guys, back with you, and here you can see our just finished up 1/16 scale Shelby Cobra 427. I worked on this model this week in between a couple other things that I was doing. Got it all finished up. Like I said, I put out a video of this a couple days ago on the regular YouTube channel, and some of you guys may or may not have seen it, but thought I'd show it to you guys tonight. If you guys remember, we did a review on the an out-of-the-box review on the kit here a couple of weeks ago, and I just want to say I'm really, really happy with this kit. It's a great kit to work on. Everything fit together really, really nice. No problems at all with it. And we did a nice paint job on this one. Painted it in the factory Cobra Le Mans blue color with the white racing stripes. This model features a lot of detail, especially on the interior, the engine, and it does feature opening hood, doors, and trunk. I'll show you that everything kind of opens up here. Pop the hood open here for you and show you the detail on the engine. I kind of have to tilt it on its side here so you guys can see that. We've got the 427 engine in there. We did all the detail on the spark plug wires and the dual 4-barrel engines and everything that goes in there. There's a lot of detail under the hood of this model. It's really nice. Pretty much everything except I could see the throttle linkage is included for detail on this. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it's a great kit. These are still readily available out there. You can find them on Amazon and eBay. I'm not sure if the kit is currently in production or not, but they're readily available and not that expensive. Just kind of turn it around here and show you the different angles on it. And it has a steerable front end as well. In the video, I talked a little bit about the history of this car. This car was an amazing car when it came out all the way back in 1966. It was the first year that they put the big engine, the 427 engine in. A lot of you English folks that might be watching might know that the AC Motor Company was originally an English sports car manufacturing company, and they built cars kind of like small little sports cars like Triumphs and things like that. And in the early days, they combined with Ford Motor Company, and they placed a small block Ford engine. I think it was a 260 cubic inch V8 into the first little AC Roadster over there in England, and it was a smash hit. A lot of people loved it. And then Carroll Shelby heard about the car and decided to take it even further, so they developed the AC Cobra, which the first AC Cobras that came out had 260s and then up to the 289 cubic inch, and then finally ended up with the big monster 427, and they became legendary cars, and they were raced quite frequently back in the day, and they just absolutely dominated in the racing series. But they're wonderful cars, extremely rare today, collector's items. A couple Cobras have sold at auctions for over $1 million. I mean, they're just incredibly valuable. Each one of them was hand-built and numbered. The bodies were completely made out of aluminum, all by hand. And I was really lucky back in high school. One of my good friends from high school, his dad actually had one of these, a real one, and took me for a ride in it once. And it was just, all I'll say is it was breathtaking. I've never been in a car that had that much acceleration and just pure power. It's actually kind of scary as a passenger. I'm sure it was a lot of fun to be the driver, but when you were not in control of the car, it was kind of scary. But just a lot of fun, and I still remember it to this day, 30 years later. But again, great kit, fantastic kit to work on. I had a blast working on it. Really happy with how it turned out. And so we got another one going on the shelf in the display room, guys, so I hope you enjoyed that. I'll come back here really quick, and we're going to pop over and show you this old kit that that I took out of mothballs, and we're going to be doing a little bit of looking at it, and I'll tell you what I'm going to be doing on doing some of the restoration on it. And we're actually going to do a little bit of that restoration tonight on the bench here for you guys. So I'll be back with that in just a couple seconds, everybody, right after the break. Okay, everybody, back with you again. Well, what you see in front of you is an old AMT kit. As many of you guys know, I'm a big fan of NASCAR. I was a big Bill Elliott fan when he used to race in NASCAR. I'm really happy to see his son Chase competing in the series now and moving up. He'll actually be taking over the car for Jeff Gordon next year, so it's a big deal. But I built this model exactly 25 years ago, and it's been in storage for a long time, probably 20 of those years or so in storage. And as a result, it started to kind of fall apart here and there. And this was actually the very first model that I ever did any lighting on, going that far back. What I did on this is I lighted the interior of this, so you could see this is a 1/24 scale hauler, and it's made to fit the car and everything. The doors open on this, and it has the full interior in there, and you can see it's kind of started to fall apart. Some of the walls have fallen down and some things like that. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going back and getting this fixed up so I can put it back on display again. These kits are really hard to find now. You can't hardly find them anywhere, and we're going to do the best we can kind of fixing this up. One of the problems that it has here is, I'm not sure if it'll show, but you can see on the roof it kind of got some weird action going on there over time with the paint. I used some old lacquer paint right out of the can back in the day on this, and it started to kind of get some weird stuff going on there, so I'm going to be sanding that down and getting that repainted. Back in the day, I wasn't that great at paying attention to the details, and you can see I got a little bit of overspray on the top of this, on the sides here of the silver. And at the time, I really didn't know what I was going to be able to do with that. It was just kind of on there. I knew I couldn't use any kind of thinner or anything like that to get it off of there. But what I've got tonight is I've got a little bit of my polishing compound that I use to buff out the paint on my models, and I'm going to see if that'll work and see if I can get some of this gone off of here. And we should be able to do that without ruining any of our decals or finish that's on this. Before we do that, though, I'm going to show you basically what I did here. I've got a switch that I mounted on the bottom side of this. I've got to go ahead and put the wheels and everything back on. They all fell apart. They've got to all be glued back together and repainted and all that. But I've got a switch mounted on the bottom of this, and I originally had this hooked up to a 9-volt battery. I'm going to wire this thing so it has its own power supply now. But you can see I've still got the wires here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up our power supply here, and I'm going to test this out and see if it still works. Hopefully it does. I can't remember which is which here as far as terminals go, but I don't think we'll burn anything out if I get it backwards. But let's just see what happens here. Oh, we got lights. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this over here for you. I got to make sure that my wires don't touch here. And open this up. And you can see that we had some pretty cool lighting going on in there. Now the wall on this side has fallen down. I've got to glue this back in. I'll just stick this in here quick so you guys can see where it goes. But it's pretty cool because it has all the cabinets and everything in there with the the vices on the cabinets, and there's a whole bunch of tools and stuff that go in there, like the floor jack, the air tanks, and a bunch of neat stuff. There's also a neat rack that goes in there so the car can actually be displayed on the inside, that has the whole ramp that comes down so the car can sit on it. I've got an old 1/25th scale Bill Elliott car that I have never built that goes with this one. It's the same car that you see on the side, so I'm actually going to, there you can kind of see the stuff on the top of the roof a little bit better. So we're going to sand that down and fix that. But I'm going to actually build the car up for this too, so we have a nice complete display. But it's a really cool old kit. So the lights are working, so that's good. All I've got to do is get that wired back up. But let's, what we're going to do now is we're going to work on the, trying to get that overspray off the side there. And hopefully we can get most of that off of there. So let's kind of roll it over here, and what I'm going to have to do is kind of get this door open here so I can kind of support it when I'm pushing on that. I don't want to push it on the inside. I'm going to have to kind of fit my hand in there on this, and so we don't push too hard on the sides there and cave something in. This thing's getting pretty brittle. It's really old. Okay, so what I've got here is I've got this 3M spot finishing. It's basically polishing compound, and so I'm just putting a little bit of this on my microfiber towel here, and I'm going to start buffing on this and see if we can get some of this gone. I'm going to start on this door here first. And it's taking it off. That's a good sign. I can already see it clearing right up. It's a very light overspray. It bothered me for years. It was a screw up back when I worked on it. I was like, darn it, why didn't I mask that off? But I didn't think I would get any paint on there, but I did, obviously. And that's basically the way I put it away after that. I didn't want to have it looking like that. And for all these years, it's been sitting, waiting to be fixed. So you guys are seeing basically an antique. It's probably older than some of the people that are watching the show. So that's kind of interesting. Okay. So far, so good, guys. I'm really happy that this is coming off. Need to, whoop, my hinge came apart. I was kind of afraid of that. That's no problem. We can glue that back together. The main thing I'm worried about is I don't want to ruin any of the decals, because that would be hard to replace those. But we're doing pretty good here. Let's get up in this area right here. I was going to basically go around and check the entire model anyway to see if anything was brittle or loose and go back and re-glue everything, so that's not a big deal that our hinge came apart. Glue does get brittle over time, just like our bones do with us old people. I'm not totally old yet, but I can feel it starting to come on. So yeah, this is working great, guys. I'm really happy with this. I can see it clearing right up. And like I said, it's not this hobby is it's not always about building new models. Sometimes you got to go back and fix up your old stuff. You know, something happens, falls off the shelf, or maybe you want to go back and change something or redo it. You know, because maybe the first time you built it, you weren't happy with how it turned out. You know, if you've got an old model that you want to get apart, a good trick, if you guys haven't heard about it before, is you can actually stick it in your freezer. Stick the model in your freezer overnight and pull it out, and you can usually completely break the model down. It'll make the glue turn really brittle, and you can usually completely disassemble the model without breaking any of the parts. So that's a little trick that some people have kind of handed around in the hobby for years, and it works really good. Okay, I think this front panel is pretty well cleared up pretty good here. Go on to this area right here. I can see some on the right on the number 9 here, and a little bit on this door. Back in this area here, it looks pretty good. So we're almost there already. Just get my hand in behind this. Got most of it gone already, guys. I'm real pleased. What I will be doing with this model is after I get it all finished up, I'm going to go ahead and respray this entire thing with a really nice coat of my good automotive clear coat finish that I use, and that will seal this up thing really good. Won't have any problems at all with the decals coming apart or anything like that in the future. It'll seal it up permanently. I think back in the day I used just regular Tester's gloss clear coat out of the can on this. I wasn't spraying anything at the time. I didn't have a spray set up. Okay, let's get a little bit of this out of this. white stuff out of this door jamb. Okay, let's put a little bit of water on this and wipe it down. I said a little bit something different tonight, guys. Try to keep bringing you guys some new things every week. Coming up next, we've got the wiring to do on our Enterprise. A lot of you guys write to me a lot and ask me about how I do the wiring on the bases and getting, those power supplies hooked up and everything. So we'll take you through that whole process here. Then we'll have our Enterprise all finished up and ready to go. I sent my client some pictures of the model, and he's really excited about getting it. So we're excited about getting it to him, and looking forward to having him enjoy it when he gets it. Got another one that we're building right behind it that's about halfway done. So having a lot of fun working on Enterprise models. Okay, guys, this looks great. I'm going to wipe this one down here too, and we'll lay it on here back real quick. And you can see a couple of spots I still need to work on here, just around this edge. Okay, let's go ahead and lay this back down. Alright, now if I can tilt this up in the light for you guys here, you can see that we've got our overspray gone. And I'll just finish wiping that down, and then I'll get this all cleaned up, and I'll put a new clear coat on this, and it'll be just like new. Really happy with that. Okay, guys, well, that was a little bit of fun there working on this, and I'll come back maybe in next week's episode and show you how it turned out once we get it all cleaned up and put back together. So I hope you enjoyed that. Just a little bit of restoration work on one of our old models. Come right back after the break, guys, and then we'll do our slideshow, and then we're going to move on to working on the Enterprise, getting that base wired up. Be right back, everyone. All right, back with you guys. Hope you enjoyed the slideshow, and again, thank you to everybody that sent those in. Sorry I didn't have my microphone turned on during that last segment, um, but I just want to say, please send your pictures to us at info@trekworks.net. Keep those pictures coming, guys. We really appreciate it. We've got a couple of videos that you guys have sent in too that we're lining up to show on some upcoming shows, so we appreciate that as well. Well, I've got everything laid out on the bench here for you guys. You can see we're going to be working on the base for our TOS 1350 Enterprise that we were working on last week. I've got to do the wiring on this. I've got a power supply here. This is a 9-volt power supply, 2 amp, which I got from my good friend Jerry at HGA Model Works. He has these available for a really good price, otherwise known as a wall wart. And we also got these nice female jacks that we need to install on our base here so that my customer can plug this in or unplug it and move the model around if he wants to and make that really easy. So we're going to install this jack, and then we'll have everything connected up to our switches here and ready to go. So let's start off here by what we're going to do first is we're going to install the jack. I've got a little pilot hole that I started here in this location. This is kind of deep, so I had to go up kind of high on the top of the base here to make sure we have enough clearance and it doesn't stick out too far on the bottom. And I just noticed looking at this base, it kind of looks like a happy face, doesn't it? Anyway, so I've got to make a little bit bigger hole in this, so I'm going to use my little air tool here. I've got this little air-powered grinder with a knurling tool on it, and this will make quick work to make this hole here. So let me get this done really quick. Pardon the noise. Get this lined up here and knock this out. Don't want to go too far there, so I'm going to stop right there and check this. See what kind of size we need here. This is a nice quality jack. It's nice and made out of metal and all that. Okay, we got to go a little bit bigger there, so I think I'm going to have to go all the way through. Get this the rest of the way through here for us. Sometimes it will get stuck like that, but you just got to back it out and start over. There we go. It's going to fight me here a little bit. Okay, I'm going to take my hobby knife here and clean off this edge, and hopefully we've got a big enough hole now. Okay, we're good there, guys. Perfect. Now I can just put my washer and my lock nut on the back here. Just snug this up just a little bit with our needle nose. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to put just a dab of CA glue on this so that it won't loosen up on us. Okay, now what I need to do, guys, is I need to plug in my power supply here, and then I'm going to test the jack for polarity. You've got two terminals on here. You've got one in the center and one on the edge, and you can see that it in this shot here that it's almost, you can see that one tab there, it's kind of almost sticking down too far, but that's okay. We can bend that a little bit. It's not down too far the way it is, but we're okay. I'm just going to plug this in, and then I'm going to I've got my little multimeter here setting it at 20 volts. And I'm just going to test to see which is which. Okay, I'm right the way I am. So this larger tab here that sticks up is the negative, and the one in the center is the positive. So we're good there. I know how that's supposed to be. I'm going to bend this tab out of the way here just a little bit so we don't have it sticking up. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tin these terminals with some solder. So we have those ready to connect some wire to. I've got my nice wire here all ready to go. That one. And that one. Okay. So now the way this works, we've got the tenant controls Bassards in our model here. So what we want to be able to do is we have this momentary switch here which controls the speed of the spinning Bassards. And now what that is it's a single wire that comes out of the model, and it basically just interrupts and touches temporarily onto the ground of the power coming in. So what we need to do is just run a wire. We'll have one wire which will go, up into the model, which will run up here and go out through the top. The other one we can take and directly go over to this negative terminal here, so that when we push this switch, it'll just make a temporary connection there on the negative side, and it'll trigger the speed control on the spinning Bassards. So I've got a little bit of black wire here. I'm going to get this ready to go. Best way to strip this wire is just with a lighter like this. Just heat it up a little bit, and you can pull a little bit of that insulation right off of there. I've been using this stuff lately instead of the magnet wire. I also get this from Jerry at HDA Model Works. This is called wire wrapping wire. I believe this is it's 30 gauge, so it's really, really thin. It's almost as thin as magnet wire. The only difference is that it's got this vinyl coating over the top of it. But I've been using it here in the last couple of builds, and I really like it. So let's get this connected on the top here on our negative terminal, where we're going to have our power coming in. And I always give that wire a good tug to make sure you got a good connection on there. And then we're going to come right over to this other terminal here. I want to make sure I'm on the right one. Our momentary switch is the one on this side, so we want to make sure we go to that one. It doesn't matter which of these terminals you go to. You can go to either one of them. We just want to be on the opposite of whatever our wire coming in from the model is going to be, so we'll just use that one right there. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drill a small hole in the space. Has these sort of cross braces in it. We don't want our wires hanging down below that, so I'm going to have to drill a couple little holes to pass our wiring through, and be really easy to do here with our Dremel tool. So I'll just drill one right here. And another one right here. Okay. Okay, so we've got that ready to go. Clip our wire here. Just figure out how long we need it to be. Like that. And we'll just sneak this wire in through there. All right. Get this tip cleared up here. And we're going to go ahead and solder that one down. Tin this wire just a little bit. go ahead and connect it on our terminal. All right. So again, that will be our trigger wire then for the spinning Bassards. Now we don't need to run a negative over to our switch here. We're just going to interrupt the positive side of the power coming in. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a little bit of this red wire and I'm going to come off of the center terminal here, which is the positive side. I'm going to bring that over to this this pole here on the our power on and off switch, and then we'll have power coming from the jack to the model. The power wire from the model will come down through our mounting rod through this hole here, and will connect over to the opposite side of this terminal, so that basically you can see here it just interrupts the flow. So when the switch is open, no power can go through it. When it's closed, power goes through it. It's really simple. So I'm gonna have to drill one more hole here, guys, for this side over here. I can see I might as well do that right now. There we go. Okay, let's get the wire routed through there now. So I hope this is interesting for you guys. Like I said, a lot of people have emailed me and written to me over and over about wanting to see more about how we do this wiring on this on these bases, and so I thought it'd be a good idea to show you guys that tonight. Just going to get this wrapped around this center terminal here. And then we will go ahead and lay down some solder on that. I'll check this to make sure we got a good connection. Nothing's touching on our outside. This outside part of this terminal is connected to this, so we don't want to have anything touching on there. That would make a short. So we're good there. Now we can cut this other end off. Get this stripped. And we'll tin our terminal here. All right. So now all we need to do is bring the power from the model itself and the trigger wire down in there. So what I'll do, guys, is I'll take another quick break here, and I'm going to bring the Enterprise over to the bench here. We'll have it upside down. We'll be able to lay our base down on top of there, feed our wires through there that are coming from the model, and then we'll connect this all up. Be right back with that, everybody. Okay guys, we're back now and we've got the big Enterprise on the bench here and we've got our base ready to go down on the top of this. So what I've got to do now is I've got my wires coming out of my model. Like I mentioned, I've got 3 wires here. I've got the plus and the minus, which is the power for the model, and then I've got a third wire, which is the trigger switch for the spinning Bassard. So I've got to feed these through the bottom of the base. So let's start off by doing that first. Just getting this one to go down in there. This extra long one here I know is my trigger wire. So the other 2 are easy to figure out. I've got black and red here for plus and minus. Let's go ahead and get the minus put through next. Okay, that one going up through. And then we've got our power wire, finally, our red one. Last one is always stubborn. It's got a little bit of a bend in it. Just have to go straight through here. There we go. I want to pull these through real careful, make sure I don't have any kinks in there or anything. Now what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to leave a little bit of slack, and then I'll be able to just push this wire up inside the model. The reason I'm doing that is that when I ship these out, I have the base kind of loose laying off to the side like that because it makes it really tall when it's sitting inside the box, and I don't want to have that. So I'm going to leave a little bit of slack here. I need to find a platform here to set this on so we can wire this up and have it sitting up in the air here. I've got a box right here I'll just grab. Kind of slide our Enterprise over here a little bit. Keep this right up here. Okay. Okay, so what we've got now, I'm a little bit out of the picture though. Let me see if I can bring you guys over here a little bit. There we go. So we've got our 3 wires now. Like I said, we've got our ground, which comes out right here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to route this through this little hole that we drilled. Just the right amount of slack here. Trying to do this all and keep this in camera is a little bit challenging. Okay, so we've got this wire right here that we've got our ground. So we'll go ahead and snip that off. And we're going to solder that one onto that terminal. Same one that we started with our for our ground there. Alright, got that one connected. Looks good. Go ahead and tin the other terminal on our power switch here. And we've also got to bring our trigger wire over to the ground. Oops, I screwed up there, everybody. I went to the wrong one. We've got to go over here. We've got to go over to this side. Okay, now we're on track. Got our ground terminal here. And now our trigger wire needs to go over to that terminal that we started off with there. That's what I got backwards. Okay, so we can cut this off a little bit shorter now. We're going to go right over here. And connect this one on, and that'll be our circuit for our speed control on our rotating Bussards. We've got 3 different speeds we can run those at. Alright, and the last one to go here, guys, is the power. So we're going to come around here. Just snip this one off a little bit shorter. Just checking that button one more time. And that's our on, off and on button. The difference between these buttons is one is a off and on 2-pole switch, and the other one's just a momentary switch, which you just push it, and it doesn't hold. So it's just like a you can think of it as like a little interrupter switch, and that's for our Bussard effect. Okay. Alright, that completes the wiring, guys. You can see, if I can get it over here for you, came out real simple and real clean. Just kind of reviewing here, we brought our power in with our plus and our minus. We took our minus over to the negative side of our female jack here. We took the plus side and connected to the center pole, which we determined which was which with our multimeter there. And then we've got our power coming in from our model, going over to our switch here so that we can interrupt that and turn it off and on. Then for our momentary switch over here, we connected the one half of the negative side to the interrupter on this side of the switch, and then we've got our trigger wire going up inside the model which connected to that. So we're good to go here, guys. What I'm going to do now really quick is I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to tuck my wires back up inside the model, get it turned over, and we're going to bring it back on the bench and go ahead and test everything. So I'll be right back with that, guys. Stay tuned. All right, everybody, I'm back with you, and we've got the model sitting down on the base now, turned over. I just turned off my overhead light here so you could see the lighting on the model a little bit better. But we turn our power on now, and you can see that everything comes on the model. We've got all of our lighting going on here. And you can see our spinners are spinning at a certain speed there. They start off at the fast speed. So now we push this momentary switch. We push it once, and then that changes to the sort of the medium speed. And then we push it again, and we get our super slow speed. I guess this Enterprise only has 3 warp speeds. We're supposed to have 7, but anyway, we'll have to talk to Ralph about that. But so you push it one more time. Actually, you have 4 speeds, I guess. So we get slow and then super slow. So we push it one more time, and we go back to our really fast speed. Then medium, slow, and I guess this is sublight speed. So it turned out great, guys. Everything worked out perfectly on that. So there she is, all finished up. Another beautiful Enterprise. So we've got her ready to go and be shipped out and leave the Trek Works shipyards again. Okay, guys, I'm going to get this put away and get everything cleaned up here and come right back. I'm showing a little bit after 9 o'clock, so I'll head over to the back onto the bench and we'll do our shout-outs for tonight and do a little bit of a Q&A session. So see you with that in just a couple seconds, everybody. Right back. Okay, guys, back with you. I've got everything cleaned up and hope you guys enjoyed what we had to show you tonight. Um, we're going to head over to the YouTube page now and check out the Q&A and see who's here tonight. Do our shout-outs like usual and see if we've got any questions to answer. Start off with Mike Scarola's here tonight, Chuck Brooks, Mike Kovach, James Schulenberg, Chris with Classic Plastic is here. Nice to see you tonight, Chris. Scott Hall, Federation Shipyard, Heath Tompkins, John Petrie. John is coming to us from England, so he's up late again tonight. 2000 SPQR. That's our friend Calvin Sweet. Mitch Seagraves, Shannon Freeman. Let's see. Federation Shipyard, not sure if I missed you or not. Dan Harris, Rob Miser, Eric Hawkins, Dadnator 24, and Scott Hall. Nice to see all of you guys tonight. Big Stats, I don't know if I think you might be new. Nice to see you with us. John Crow, Aussie Trekkie, nice to see you tonight. Scott, BL Alley, Philip Prime. You guys are typing in here so I can see that you're here. Glad you're doing that. So I'll just go back up here and okay, Mike says, is canopy glue microcrystal clear good for gluing styrene to aluminum, or should I just use CA glue? Man, Mike, I think you could go either way on that. I've been using canopy glue to uh, glue my photo etch parts on my models, and it works really good. I like it because it doesn't turn brittle like canopy glue does. So you can kind of go either way you want to go on that, I think. Maybe some other people here could give you some advice on that. John Petrie says it was worth the wait. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the show tonight, John. Beautiful work that you're doing, John, on your Enterprise refit. Saw the pictures of your shuttle bay on the Google page. Thanks for posting it there. Looks like it's going to be a really nice model. Oh, Grayson's here tonight. Nice to see you, Grayson. She says her first Halloween costume was a homemade Captain America. And then Miss Everdeen. And then I was a Whovian. And W Hunt 10866 is here tonight. Anime Guy XL2. Jack Burton, nice to see you, Jack. I think you're new here. Star Siege Player, nice to see you, Star Siege. BL Alley. Scott's asking about CA or canopy glue. CA will turn kind of brittle, Scott. The canopy glue will stay, as far as I know, it doesn't turn brittle at all. I haven't had any problems with it. I've been using that stuff for years, and I originally was putting my photo etch parts on with CA glue, and it holds them and everything, but some of the small little detail parts, a couple times I bumped them and they just fell right off, and I tried it again with canopy glue, and they've never fallen off again. So just a little something that I do here. Like I said, there are some different types of glue out there. There's actually some glue that's specifically made for gluing photo etch parts on models. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's made by Microsol. You might look that up. Jerry with HDA Model Works is here. Nice to see you, Jerry. He says, I bet I can guess what costume Boyd's going to wear. Well, we just have to wait and see. Caesar is here. Nice to see you tonight, Caesar. Nice to feature a couple of your models in the slideshow tonight. The Batmobile was beautiful. Thanks for putting those pictures up on the Google page too. We have E-Biker 56. That's James Frost. Nice to see you, James. We featured one of James's works tonight. He's got work in progress with the beautiful papercraft model of the dry dock for the Enterprise. That's really fantastic, and that looks like a lot of work, Jim. I give you a lot of credit for that one. T Commando says, have you thought of using model cement to make glass look like it's damaged? No, that's a pretty good idea, Commando. Nice idea. Have to try that sometime. Galaxy Stranger 01, welcome. I think you're new as well. I'm trying to keep up here, guys. The screen's really starting to flow pretty fast. Let me see if I can find that. I saw it pop by there. It says, when you're spraying lacquer paints in the garage as opposed to an indoor environment and then letting the item dry outside the house, is there any problem doing that? No, if you can stand the fumes of lacquer inside your house, there's no problem with it that I can think of. BL Alley says he gets plenty of glue on his windshields. BL, That's why using canopy glue or microcrystal clear works really good for that, because if you get any on your plastic windshield, you can just wipe it right off. It will not attack the plastic whatsoever. It does take longer to set up though, so you're going to have to put some tape on it or something to hold it in place until it cures. Usually about a half an hour, it'll be set up enough where it'll hold on its own, it won't fall out. Or if you've got the body, if you're doing a car and you're putting the glass in the body, you have the body laying upside down, and hopefully the gravity will help hold it in there. But yeah, that's a trick that a lot of modelers are using with glue. They're using, you can even use Elmer's glue for that. It'll hold just fine. And if you get any around the edges or whatever, you can just, like I said, a little bit of water and a towel, you can just wipe it right off. We've got another new one here. I hope I pronounce this right. Chizur Bunai. I hope I'm saying that right, but welcome. Glad to see you with us tonight. I mentioned at the beginning of the show, hopefully maybe somebody was able to capture the comments. I like to try to save the comments so I can go back and look at them later on after the show is over with and see if I missed any questions or anything like that, or something might have popped past. For some reason, since last October or so, YouTube quit saving the chat comments. People have been going nuts on their forums trying to ask them what's wrong, and they won't answer. I think what the issue is they use a lot of space, and that's why they're not saving them anymore. But what I'll try and do is I'll try to capture them after the show's over with, but it only captures like the last quarter of the comments, so I don't get them all. And then I'll cut and paste them and put them on the actual video after it's done posting. And that's how I've been doing it, but hopefully maybe somebody captured those tonight. And if you could email those to me at the info@trekworks.net address, that would be great. Chris with Classic Plastic says he uses canopy glue, sometimes Aleene's Super Tacky, and sometimes GS Hypo on clear plastic. So there you go, guys. There's some more adhesives you can use for your clear parts on your models. Mike Kovach says he'll stick with Craft acrylics or Tamiya for indoor use. Keeps me in good graces with the wife. Well, that's a pretty good idea, Mike. You don't want to do anything to make the wife upset. They can always cut off the funding for the models, and that's not good. Heath is asking, is epoxy glue good to use on model kits? I haven't worked with epoxy type glues very much, Heath. I'm not sure what to tell you on that. The only epoxies that I'll use are for securing some of the big stuff, like mounting brackets and stuff inside my models, where it's going to support a lot of weight and all that. I use a 2-part 10-minute epoxy that it's sort of a catalyst, you mix the 2 parts together and it turns really, really hard and it'll stick to anything. But if there's actually an epoxy glue out there in a tube, maybe somebody here again has used that and could tell you a little bit more about that. Chuck Brooks says he's doing the Dracula in all acrylic, save for the gold on his vest chain. That'll be pretty cool, Chuck. Robert A says GS Hypo works on fiber too, so I guess you can use it on fiber optics and it doesn't attack. James Kirk is asking, when I built my Defiant, how did I paint the top of the blue circles and still let light come through? All I did on that, James, is when I painted the model with my base coat and my light blocking, I made little circular masks that I just put over the top and on the inside of the model and sprayed it all down and just left them open. And then I just dusted over it with a really light coat of on the outside with, to me, a transparent blue, and then just backlit it with some LEDs, and it worked out perfect. The model was molded in white, so the light went right through it. I didn't want those to look overly bright either. They don't look really super bright on the model and on the show. They just kind of have a glow to them, and so that worked out pretty good. SF Modeler says he has a paint booth and not a wife. UV is good for repelling vampires too, Grayson says. Yeah, that's true, Grayson. Keith Purcell is with us now. Nice to see you, Keith. And yeah, garlic works as well for keeping those vampires away. Speaking of that, guys, I hope you guys are interested in our Halloween group build that we'll be doing here. Like I said, just pick you out a simple little kit and throw it together. And doesn't have to be a showpiece or anything like that. We'll have a lot of fun with it. I'll just pop it up on the screen here real quick and show you guys my selection here, what I picked this year for my Halloween build. It's the Boot Hill Express. I built this model like way back in the day. It's a kit that's been around for years, and I thought it'd be fun to build this up. It's kind of Halloweeny. It's got a skeleton with it, and it's supposed to be the Boot Hill Cemetery for cowboys. So I thought that might be kind of cool. I was going to do that, or either do that or the Dragula, but I have the Munsters coach in a 1/18 scale, and I'm actually going to get I'm going to get a die-cast 1/18 scale Dragula to go with it, so it's in the same scale. But this is a kit I'm going to build, so that should be pretty fun. And yeah, just something real simple and easy to put together. It doesn't have to be anything big and fancy. And hopefully we can get those done. That'll give you about 4 weeks to get it finished, because we're a week to go until we hit October or so. And then if we get them done before, I'd like to try to get pictures. Everybody submit their pictures the week before the show on Halloween night, so I could make a nice slideshow and put those all up and show everybody's finished models. Even if you don't get them finished, guys, just show what you do have done, and that would be cool. Grayson says she's interested, but she has to do cosplay for Halloween. Well, you have fun with that, Grayson. You're young. You need to do stuff like that. So we know you'll be here in spirit. She's going to be Trinity this year, handing out red and blue M&Ms. That's pretty cool. Just don't go down the rabbit hole. Michael Kovac said he's working on Vampirella. That'll be cool. I like that kit. I was actually looking around for a figure kit before I decided on the Boot Hill Express. I've always thought Christopher Lee was one of the best Draculas. He's my favorite Dracula, actually, and I looked around for a resin Dracula, Christopher Lee as Dracula, and he passed away recently, so I wanted to kind of do maybe a little tribute. But boy, are those things expensive. I mean, wow, I couldn't believe it. But maybe sometime down the road, I'm eventually going to do something with that. There's some nice kits out there, and the likenesses of them are just perfect. Scott Hall says he really enjoyed the Cobra build, and his dad had a real kit car of the Cobra for his midlife crisis. Well, that's a cool toy to have. Even a kit car would be I'd settle for one of those for sure. He built him a 1/25th scale replica. Yeah, the 1/16 scale kit is a great kit, Scott. I really recommend it. Like I said, I had no problems at all with it. Everything fit beautiful on the model. The only thing I would say that they could maybe that maybe was a little bit of a pain in the butt was some of the chrome parts, like the bumpers and stuff. The way they have them attached on the sprues, when you cut them off, you're going to have a little bit of, the little specks here and there where you can see where the chrome's missing, and you just have to do something to kind of touch that up. I used a little bit of all-clad on mine and tried to hide it as good as I could. You could probably strip them all the way down. If you wanted to spend a lot of time, strip them all the way down and then and completely redo them entirely with all clad chrome. You know, do your black first, then do your gloss coat, and then spray them with the all clad, and they should look pretty nice. But that's the only little issue I would say on the entire kit. But everything else, it was fantastic. Chris says he's in for the Halloween deal. Good, Chris. Glad to have you in on it. I know you've already done your sort of Halloween build this year. Chris has finished up the Crypt Keeper, and we had his model featured there in the slideshow tonight. And he's also working on the Ghost Rider and doing some lighting on his flames around his skull and everything. He's posted some pictures of that. It looks fantastic. Always love the imagination you put into your builds, Chris. Let's see, we got more coming down below here. I've got a little bit of time tonight too, guys, so if anybody's interested, I'm going to do a little hangout after. I'm going to start doing those now and then after I do the show on Saturday night, so I'm going to call it the after show hangout. What I'll do is I'll post the link to it over on the the Model Shop Guys Google page, so if anybody wants to do a little bit of hanging out tonight, I'm going to be out here doing a little bit of work after I'm done here tonight, so I'll go ahead and fire that up. I know it's getting late for some of you guys already, but some of you that are night owls like me might be interested in talking about models and hanging out for a little while. I promised you guys a little earlier, I forgot to get to that segment, but I'm doing work on the Battlestar Galactica. This is the Badass Models 1/1400 scale. I think that's the scale. I hope I'm not getting that wrong all this time that I've been saying that, but I've been going through and getting my parts all primed and looking for areas on the model that I'm going to have to do a little bit of cleanup and stuff. But man, I'm really impressed with this thing. It's really, really nice. So the detail on it's fantastic. And once I get all my priming work done and everything and the parts all kind of clean up, then I'm going to start with the video where we're going to start doing our fiber optic work. We're going to be doing a lot of miniature lighting on this, lighting up the landing bays, lighting up the engines and all that, and doing our Aztec painting on there. So we got a lot of work to do on these, but it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. That's going to be a long build series. I'm going to do the Hangout on regular Google Plus, guys. Like I said, I'll post the link to it on the Model Shop Guys page. You should be able to click on that link, and you should be able to get right in. Unfortunately, it only holds 10 people, so I guess first come, first serve. Eric Hawkins says it's 1/2500 scale for the Badass. I think that's what it is. Or is that the scale? What is the scale on the Mobius one? I've got the Mobius kit here too. Let me look at this real quick. Yeah, you might be right there, Eric, because this is 1/4105 scale. So yeah, it's roughly a little bit bigger than twice as big as the Mobius. So you're probably right. I don't know where I got that 1/1400 from, so I'm going to have to make sure I get that right when I do my video. Thanks for pointing that out. James Kirk says, when you do a Raytheon effect, so once you do the inside, how do you do the outside so you don't end up with a step from the primer coat and then a base coat? Well, basically, you're going to kind of shape the general shape. Okay, like for example, if you want to do the V on the top of the saucer on the 350 Enterprise, let's just use that as an example. What I'll do is I'll mask off the inside with masking and do all my light blocking and everything and leave that totally open, like it, no paint on it whatsoever. And then the outside, you don't put any primer over that area either. Okay, so you just kind of keep it open. Then when you're spraying your base coat down on top of it, that general area right there, you just kind of dust into the edges so you don't come right up on it and leave a hard line on there. Don't tape it on the top side, so you leave a paint line there. And then what you do is on the inside, so you don't want a perfect straight line on that, going around. So then when you pull your masking tape off on the inside, you're going to have a clear piece of plastic, right, or basically open plastic. What I'll do is I'll take my airbrush with some black, and I'll just lightly go around the edges of it, right? Just spray right on the edges of the line, so it gives a sort of a fog effect on the edges, and that makes the line, so when you look at it from above, when you throw your backlighting on it, it makes the line look more like it has kind of shadowed off edges and not, really sharp pointed edges that don't look right. And that's my technique for doing it. And then just a light coating of your whatever paint you're going to use on the exterior, and the light will go right through it. You may have to put extra little bit of lighting in that area, like if you want it to be like the V on the top of the saucer, for example, you might want to put a couple of strips of LED tape or whatever type of lighting you're going to use, like right near it, so it's lighting that area a little bit extra bright, and then that will work great. But the trick to it is to dust around the edges of the lines with something, your airbrush or whatever you want to do, and it will definitely make it look more natural and not like sharp edges that would look kind of weird. Yeah, I mean, whatever shape you're going to make, there's different shapes. It's the same thing like the little registry numbers that are on the tips of the nacelles that I do on my models. I just make a basic oval shape there with masking tape on the inside. And then when I pull my tape after I've done all my light blocking, I just go around it on the edges of it with my airbrush in black. And it makes a perfect, like I said, an edge that sort of trails off instead of just ending sharply like that. Galaxy Stranger says, does anybody have any tips on lighting the tiny 1/2500 scale Star Trek models? Well, a good pair of glasses and a lot of patience. It's the best thing I could tell you. That's really small. I mean, it depends too on what, if the parts are solid or not. I mean, if you're going to have to open them up, and if you can do, maybe you can route some fiber optics through there, and something like that. But a lot of those small kits are they're molded solid. Some of the parts are, so it's kind of tough. It can be done. I've seen people do it. You just got to have a lot of patience, and you got to really want to do it. Yeah, David Hale's telling him you also use the tiny LEDs. There's SMDs, which I use a lot nowadays. I've They fit in the tiniest of spaces. I mean, Jerry at HDA Model Works has those in all different shapes and sizes and colors. They make them so tiny that they're like, I mean, microscopically small, and they put out a tremendous amount of light too. So you can get lighting in almost anywhere now with that, and in a lot of cases, I'll use that instead of fiber optics if I can. In fact, on our Galactica here, what I'm going to be doing on this, there's some unique lighting. If I can show you this, if I can find this particular part, right on the side of one of the landing bays here, there's the word Galactica, and some people have tried to drill holes and have fiber optics sticking up out of there or whatever, and it doesn't look good because the fiber optics don't cast light to the sides. They just light the very tip, and that's it. You want to have that kind of like lit with a little halo around it. So there are some SMDs out there that are super, super tiny, and what I'll be doing is mounting those in here and have them laying on their sides basically, and they'll throw a nice lighting onto the side of that. I mean, it'll look perfect, and they're so tiny that you won't even barely be able to even see them. I mean, they're going to work great for that. So Jerry and I have already been talking about that a little bit. You definitely, if you're going to use the micro SMDs, you definitely want to get the ones that are pre-wired. Trying to solder wire onto those after that is almost impossible. Yeah, to me the SMDs are almost as revolutionary as, or just as revolutionary for modeling and doing lighting as the LED tape was when we a couple years ago when we all started using that. They just totally changed the way we light models. A couple of strips of LED tape is so easy to install. You only got to solder the wire onto it, no resistors or whatever, and you can light large areas like inside of the saucers of these big ships and everything. Before you'd have to put like 20 LEDs in there, and every one of them had to have a resistor on it, and it was just a real pain. And it's just made that so much nicer and easier to work with, and made it so that even beginners, that people aren't very familiar with electronics and all that, can hook those up very easily and not have any problems. Just making sure if I didn't miss anything here. Jack Burton. Nice to see you, Jack. I think you're new. Does anyone still have old models around? And did it degrade over time from UV? Well, they definitely can, especially if they were painted with some of the old lacquer type paints. They definitely can degrade. Lacquer will turn yellow over time. The clear coat lacquer. Uh, I know that there's a tip out there that some people have mentioned where if you've got an old set of decals that have turned yellow from getting old, people are saying that you can hang those up in your window and let the sun hit them for a couple of days and they'll whiten right back up. I wonder if that's true with old lacquer that's turned yellow on your models. That might do the same thing. It might work putting them out in the sun for a little while, because it's the lacquer on the decal sheets that's turning yellow. Um, they have a lacquer coating on the top of them, so it might work for that. It's interesting. Somebody needs to try that out. I don't have any models that are like that, but be interesting to try that for somebody that has something that might have turned a little bit yellow over time. Galaxy Stranger says, will newer type automotive lacquers yellow? Well, if it's lacquer, it can definitely yellow. Lacquer is lacquer. They haven't changed what lacquer is over time. It's still the same old lacquer that it always was. I'm not using lacquer for the only lacquer that I'll use is the Tester's dull coat lacquer, and I'm not sure if that has a tendency to yellow as much as the regular gloss lacquer did back in the day. Um, but other than that, I use all acrylic urethane paints that have got a built-in UV protectant built into them. They're automotive-based paints, so um, Scott saying, Boyd, how did I light the Coors Hauler 25 years ago? Those are flashlight bulbs, Scott. They're the old incandescent flashlight bulbs. My dad had a couple of old flashlight batteries laying around, so I grabbed those, or flashlights, and I grabbed those and took the bulbs out of them, and that's what's in there. And they still work. I'm probably going to upgrade those now to LEDs, though, since we have those, because no point in doing all that work and then having the flashlight bulbs burn out after all that work. Star Siege player says some of his old dull-coated models yellowed really bad. Well, I've that I don't know if they may have improved on or not, Star Siege, but being that they are lacquer, I've got several models that have been sitting in my display room now for close to 4 years, and they haven't even started to turn yellow. I think it might have a lot to do with how much light they're sitting in. Now, the room that they're in, I keep it, I don't let much light get in there, so maybe that's why, but they haven't even given a hint of starting to turn yellow yet. Krylon makes UV resistant spray cans in matte or gloss finish. Well, there you go. Mike Kovac says that there's some clears out there now that have that. John Petrie says, are the iridescents in lacquer, will they yellow over time? I don't think they will, John, because they have a tint to them already. I don't think they'll turn. It's more the clears that you're going to have to worry about. Maybe you guys that are talking about Krylon, if you could let everybody know where you're getting it. I mean, do they have it at Walmart? Do they have it at Kmart? Do they have it at automotive stores? Um, if you could let everybody know where you're getting that stuff, there's some people out here who probably like to try it. Brian Knowles is here. Nice to see you, Brian. You noticed the Enterprise B in the background. Thank you, Brian. Krylon UV clear is an acrylic base. That would probably make sense. Because if it's pure lacquer, it's definitely going to have problems when it gets old. If it's a clear, like I said, if it's already got a color tint in it, you probably don't have to worry about it. Scott Hall says, is there a difference between the AMT 1537 and 1650? I think that's a misprint, Scott. There was no such thing as a 1650 scale Reliant kit that was ever made that I'm aware of. They're all the 1537. They only made, I believe it was AMT Ertl put out the kit, and then Round 2 repopped it, and both of those are 1537 scale. Over in England, it's a rare kit, but for a while over in England, they were available in a clear edition as well. The old AMT Ertl kit, it was available in clear. They actually had a different part number for it, but they took it off the market fairly quickly. The kits are really, really rare. It may have been because they had some kind of problem with the clear or something. I'm not sure, but it didn't last very long. Good night, Grayson. We'll see you next time. And I think I'm going to be doing the same thing here, folks. Like I said, I'm showing 9:45. So I'm going to get off here real quick and grab something to eat. It's going to be about maybe 15, 20 minutes, and then I'll be back and I'll put up the link for the Hangout. Like I said, over on the Model Shop Guys Google page. If anybody wants to show up for that, you're more than welcome. And I'm just going to be hanging out here and working on a couple things before I go to bed tonight. So hopefully we'll see some of you guys there. Had a great time being with you guys tonight. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back again next week, and I'm going to be posting some information on the Google page about the Halloween group build. Hope you guys will give that a shot. Like I said, you don't have to go out there and spend a bunch of money or anything. Just get yourself a simple little kit, have some fun, and hopefully we can get a few of those finished up and have some pictures of those by Halloween night when we do our show. So we appreciate it, guys. Thanks for being here, and keep sending us those pictures, guys. We really appreciate that. Love putting together these slideshows, and we do have a couple of videos that people have sent in too. I'm working on getting those put together. Just want to mention that if you do send us a video and you attach any kind of music onto it, make sure, absolutely sure, that it's royalty free, because it's the censors for YouTube when you broadcast these live webcasts are like the regular YouTube censors, but they're on steroids. I mean, if it's anything even close to being copyrighted or anything like that, it's going to knock it out, and it will shut down my feed immediately if I try to broadcast it. It'll stop the stream, so I have to be really careful about that. Usually what I do if I get videos from people that have music on them, I just overwrite it with some of the royalty-free stuff that I have here that I know is good. So, you know, you don't even have to bother putting music on it if you don't want to. I'll go ahead and do that for you if you send us something. So that covers that. And I mentioned today on the Google page too, just a couple tips for if you're going to send us pictures. Do your best, guys, to try to make sure the pictures aren't blurry, and that you kind of get back away from the model a little bit. You know, people tend to take pictures of the models like way too close, and you know, you're trying to show the detail and everything, but what usually winds up happening is it looks blurry, and then there's not a picture of the entire model. You know, it's just better to take a picture of the model so that it fills up the entire screen and we can see the entire model, and kind of go about it like that. So I've gotten a lot of pictures, but some of them were so blurry that I just can't use them, guys. So just have to work on that a little bit. But keep sending them in. We do appreciate it. We'll get them up there as soon as we get them. So that's a wrap, everybody. Take care, guys. I'm going to sign off now. We'll see you a little bit here on the Hangout. Until we see you next time, guys. Happy modeling. Good night.